question and a challenge. And it's centered around this phrase that I think we misuse that says, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Why can't I have my cake and eat it too? It's my cake. I understand the phrase, you can't eat your cake and have it too, because once you eat your cake, the cake is gone. You don't have it anymore. And I understand why most people use it in relationships when one of the partners is trying to enjoy cake outside of their relationship. But I think it's being misused in marriage. Isn't the pleasure of sex meant to be enjoyed in marriage? The challenge is to try to encourage married couples to stop saying you can't have your cake and eat it too, but instead to say you can have your cake and eat it too, as long as I get to be the cake. Let me read to you what Paul writes to a church about sex in marriage, as he encourages them to enjoy the pleasure of sex in the partnership of marriage in response to their questions about all of the sexual immorality that was going on around them. And what I mean by sexual immorality is so many people trying to enjoy the pleasure of sex outside of the partnership of marriage, either before marriage or while they're married outside of their marriage. This is what he wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, starting at verse 2. But since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. He tells them to enjoy the pleasure of sex in the partnership of marriage. And this is why. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. She is his cake. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. He is her cake. And in verse 5, he tells them, do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I don't know how to make this more plain, but what this is saying is that because of our sexual desires, a husband and wife have the duty to do it with one another. Does that make sense? So accept this challenge. Before Valentine's Day, on Valentine's Day, or after. The day you do it doesn't matter, because you shouldn't just do it one day. You can set it up however you want, but take the time, make the time to enjoy your cake in marriage. Make yourself the type of cake that your spouse is going to want to eat. Make sure that you look good. Make sure that you smell good. Make sure you're going to taste good. Make sure that you're going to make each other feel good. And say to your spouse in the sexiest voice that you can, did you know that you can have your cake and eat it too, as long as I get to be the cake? As long as you get to be the cake, not me, you. That's between you and them. Enjoy. Oh, and I forgot to say, just a reminder, if you're married, if you're somebody's cake, then only your spouse should be enjoying you. You can and should have your cake and eat it too, as long as your spouse gets to be the cake. And you probably will, as long as you try to be the type of cake that your spouse wants to eat.